This is Myanmar Discovery Travel's introduction to tourism in Myanmar, or Burma.
In the next few minutes, we will cover the general information of Myanmar's tourism industry, including its history, development and the current situation. We will also pay attention to introducing Myanmar's four major tourist attractions, namely the former capital Yangon, the Forest of Temples Bagan, the cultural heart Mandalay and the gem of Shan Plateau in. By the end of this introduction, we will briefly talk about popular tours around Myanmar.
In the last several years since the military junta loosened its tight grip on the country, tourism industry in Myanmar has taken a great leap forward, with the number of tourist arrival booming from 800,000 in 2011 to nearly 5 million visitors in 2015. Along with the growth of the industry, Yangon International Airport also rose in prominence as the main gate that connects foreign visitors to Myanmar. In 2011, the airport received only 400,000 visitors, but in 2015, this number has increased by threefolds. The majority of tourists, as indicated by the chart, entered Myanmar through Border Gateway. The amount of visitors through Border Gateway constitutes a significant percentage of the total arrival, and they mainly come from the neighboring China and Thailand. As the major destinations of Myanmar stay very far from the borderline and most of the visitors coming through the Border Gateway only stay for one night, this number are often discounted when discussing tourism in Myanmar. So far, only people entering the country through its international airports, Yangon, Naypyidaw and Mandalay, are counted as tourists. The four essential destinations of Myanmar include Yangon, the former capital, Bagan, the most impressive archaeological site in Asia, Mandalay, the cultural capital and the last royal citadel which houses the most significant Buddhist buildings of the country, and in Lake, the unique scenery on the Shan Plateau whose residents practice one-of-a-kind fishing techniques. The revenue collected from operations of the tourism industry has registered a seven-fold hike, rocketing from US $319 million in 2011 to US $2,122 million in 2015. Nearly three-fourths of the tourists coming to Myanmar were Asian, followed by Western European, while Northern American constituting a very small percentage. The average staying period of tourists were 9 days in 2015. Regarding the players in the tourism industry, there were 486 companies operating in tourism transportation section in 2015. The number of travel agencies was 1946. The number of tourist guides was 5,630, with English-speaking ones amounting to 2,349. There were 1,279 hotels with the total capacity of 49,946 rooms. Foreign investment in tourist section also grew to $2,678.38 million in 2015. Despite the heavy investment, Myanmar is still plagued with insufficient infrastructure which has proven to be unable to accommodate the increasing number of visitors. Public transport is underdeveloped, slow and unreliable, leaving airlines the only viable means in certain situations. The lack of international airports is also a persisting problem, with Yangon and Mandalay being the only two to actually receive international flights, whereas Molameen, Mayak, Naypyidaw are used limitedly. Hotels and guest houses provide insufficient amount of rooms, which leads to hikes in prices in peak seasons. In the next session we will introduce four major destinations of Myanmar: Yangon, Bagan, Mandalay, and in Lake. Those four are the breadwinners of Myanmar's tourism industry. The first destination for almost anyone who comes to Myanmar is Yangon. Yangon is the former capital of Myanmar from the colonial era until 2005, after which the administrative body was moved to the current capital Naypyidaw. The city is located in the south of Myanmar, 60 kilometers from Andaman Sea. Despite no longer being the capital, Yangon sustained its place as the economic and transportation hub of the country. Once visiting Yangon, tourists should not miss its notable buildings, including the gilded Shwedagon Pagoda, the nostalgia-provoking colonial buildings and the colorful Bogyo Kungsan Market. A trip by the circular train is a must experience if one wants to observe another facade of Yangon, which are crumbled with destitution, far away from the glamour the city center radiates. After completing their visit of Yangon, tourists may opt for the next destinations. They can move by car through the southern strip to visit the Golden Rock Pagoda, Morlamien and Han. They can also board a plane to go to the other three major destinations, including Bagan, Mandalay, and In Lake. For beachgoers, going by bus to Nzong and Kwangtha beaches or jumping on the plane to Ngapali Beach are certainly a choice. The second tourist trap of Myanmar, also its signature image, Bagan, is located in Mandalay region, on the bank of the legendary Irrawaddy River. It was the capital of Myanmar under the mighty dynasty Pagan. During its golden era, temples were built by both sovereigns and common people, resulting in an outstanding complex consisting of thousands of monuments. From the Bagan got its nickname Forest of Temples. Bagan is located 700 kilometers to the north of Yangon, 200 kilometers to the southwest of Mandalay city, which is the capital of Mandalay region and a tourist attraction itself. The region is divided by three sub-regions: Old Bagan, housing the Forest of Temples; New Bagan, where the government relocated the residents to better preserve the monuments in Old Bagan; and Nyaonyu, the transportation hub tourists will have to cross when visiting Bagan. Among the numerous temples dotting the vast plain of Bagan, there are some of significant importance. The most renowned and revered temple, Ananda Temple, stands out thanks to its one-of-a-kind architecture. It was built of white marble and gilded, contrasting to the other which were built of red brick. The highest one, Thatpiniu, and the widest one, Damayangi, also receive a lot of patronage among foreign tourists. Tourists can get to Bagan by plane from the two international airports Yangon and Mandalay. There are also boats along the Irrawaddy River connecting Mandalay and Bagan, a choice for travelers who want to experience and witness the lives on the river. From Bagan's airport Nyaonyu there are flights to Mandalay, Yangon and In Lake operating on a daily basis. Tourists can also venture to the south of Bagan to visit Mount Popa, a famous pilgrimage site. They would have to scale 777 steps to reach the top of the mountain where a monastery lies, but will be handsomely rewarded with the stunning panoramic view of the surrounding areas. The third major destination of Myanmar is Mandalay, the last royal citadel of Myanmar and also its cultural center. It is the second largest city of Myanmar with a population of more than 1 million. It is situated 716 kilometers to the north of Yangon and also on the bank of the Irrawaddy River.
Being the cultural heart of Myanmar, Mandalay boasts several culturally significant buildings that attract pilgrims from around the country. The Mahamuni Pagoda, located in the outskirts of Mandalay, is the second popular pilgrimage site in Myanmar after the venerated Shwedagon Pagoda in Yangon. Lying in its heart, the Mahamuni Buddhist image is said to be the exact likeness of the Buddha. The royal palace, where the last two sovereigns of the country resided, awes visitors with its imposing scale. Another Buddhist monument, Kathador Pagoda, provokes curiosity for housing the largest book of the world, 720 pages printed on 729 marble steles, each worshipped separately in a stupa.
Apart from visiting Mandalay's cultural buildings, tourists can also grab the chance to visit well-known spots around Mandalay, for example, the ancient citadels located in a close proximity, Mingun, Sagayan, Inwa, Amarapura. The half-completed buildings in Mingun will intrigue visitors with their awkward history. Meanwhile, watching sunset from Mubin Bridge, the longest teak bridge of the world, is the favorite choice of many travelers. Mandalay can be reached conveniently by plane from Yangon. Tourists can arrive in Mandalay first of all. Mandalay Airport is an international airport in its own right. The last of the big four, In Lake, is called the Jewel of Shan Plateau. The lake is 600 kilometers to the north of Yangon. It is the second largest lake in Myanmar, spanning an area of 116 square kilometers and located at an altitude of 880 meters. The natives of In Lake is the Inthas, whose names mean sons of In Lake, along with the Shan, Pa-O, Danu ethnics. When visiting In Lake, tourists can observe firsthand the unique fishing techniques, leg rowing. The men wraps the oars around one of their legs, freeing their hands so they can grab the catching net. The floating gardens are also a curious scene to see. The residents of In Lake are known for handicrafts that require utmost diligence. Their craft of lotus fiber weaving is very well known, and the products of this craft are extremely rare, delicate and expensive. Besides seeing the stilt houses, tourists can visit some pagodas built on stilts as well and listen to their interesting stories. People can reach In Lake by plane from Mandalay or Yangon. From In, it is possible to take some short-distance rides to explore the nearby spots. 50 kilometers to the west of In Lake lies Kalor, a favorite place for trekking in Myanmar. While trekking in Kalor, tourists can come into contact with the ethnic minorities inhabiting the hills of Kalor. Kalor boasts a range of nice-looking landscape, and the trek can be customized to fit visitors' preferences. In the last part of this introduction, we will talk briefly about a classic tour around Myanmar. For the average staying period of 9 days, tourists can spare 2 days for each major destination. The remaining 1 day can be spent on a minor tourist spot. The choice can be made among Kalor near In Lake or Mount Popa near Bagan or the Golden Rock near Yangon. If tourists have more time, they may opt to visit the old colonial cities in the southern strip of Myanmar or take a beach vacation on the western coast. This is the end of the introduction to tourism industry in Myanmar. For more details, please visit our website at myanmardiscovery.com.